Hi guys, welcome back to Irish Footy Vlogs. Welcome back to another Premier Division show. Looking back at the games on Monday night and quick predictions for the games this weekend upcoming too. And what a Monday night we had in the League of Ireland. Plenty of goals. I'll start off at Dalymount Park where Bohemians had a fantastic 2-0 win over their arch and bitter rivals Shamrock Rovers. Bohs' third win out of three in Shamrock Rovers this season, beating them in three different stadiums, which is interesting. Aviva, obviously, Tallaght Stadium, that epic win at Tallaght Stadium. But this one tops it off for me, for a Bohs fan, and this game at Dalymount Park, of course, because I think whereas the 3-2 win would have been fantastic and a great memory for Bohs fans coming back to win 3-2 at Shamrock Rovers in Tallaght, this performance all round was a much better rounded performance. It was a really good performance from Bohs. Rooney after 2, Clark after 39, and the early goal really set the tone. They got at, and I mean from minute one, from second one, they got at Shamrock Rovers. They got at them. They pressed high. They didn't give Shamrock Rovers any space or time to get on the ball. And played round them. Played some very, very good football. James Clark was instrumental in the game. Did a matchday vlog in this game, guys. So if you want to check that back, check that back. Where I rate the atmosphere, all other things. We gave man the match, and it's the first time ever I've given man the match to a football team, basically. I give the Bohs team man the match because they were all to a man, they were outstanding. The best team performance I've seen of any side this season, and I've seen a lot of matches, trust me on that. Shamrock Rovers fans will say they didn't play well. To a degree, that's true. But this genuinely was one of those where the opposition just didn't let them. They didn't give them an inch. They couldn't get the ball into the midfield area. And anytime Rovers got the ball, it was rushed, it was panicked, they were under serious pressure. The high intensity levels from Bohs, the aggression, the attitude, the vigour, and then they played good football. That goal in 39 minutes from James Clark was a fantastic goal. The move on the right hand side, involving Devoy, Tierney, who was the other player involved, I can't remember now, but it was brilliant. And obviously Tierney played the ball into Clark, who finished as well, but it was a brilliant move. A little bit of patience with the move and then the injection of pace of passing, and then Tierney gets in behind after a 1-2, and it was a fantastic goal. And I've looked at it a few times and said to myself, from a defensive point of view, Shamrock Rovers, what could they've done better there? To be honest, not an awful lot. Aside from maybe Clark coming across, but I mean the initial passing and movement, there wasn't an awful lot. It was just really good football, basically. Healy maybe was caught on his heels a little bit with the 1-2 with Tierney. But usually when you're playing 1-2 with someone, you have that momentum of the run. He doesn't do an awful lot wrong. He doesn't stand there, Healy. He just try and go with the man. So it was just, it was brilliant football. It was a brilliant goal. And they fully deserved to be 2 up at half time. There were a number of chances, actually, in the first half. And 2-0 was a very fair reflection. I felt at half time, there's no way they're going to keep the intensity up. The work rate was still there in the second half, but you couldn't keep that up. Any team in this league for 90 minutes, what they actually did in the first half. But it was more control in the second half, and I think they really controlled it. And they still had the best chance of the half when Pico Lopez cleared off the line. Michael Noonan did do better for Shamrock Rovers than Aaron Green. I think when he came on, he held up the ball, tried to link the play. Rovers had a little bit more of the ball in the second half, but still couldn't penetrate. The likes of Tierney and Devoy were working off the ball very, very hard. The whole team was, and that's why I give the man a match. But they were off the ball work first, second half, different in terms of the way they played, but was still brilliant off the ball. And Rovers just couldn't get near them. That's the honest truth. And I think Shamrock Rovers fans might be scratching their heads a little bit saying, we're on form again, we're top of the league. They're 9 points clear, Bohs are 2 games in hand, but they just have struggled badly against Bohs this year. I think the first game of the Aviva was a poor game. I think on a big pitch like that as well for the first day of the season when teams aren't match fit yet, didn't work in that sense, let's say. So you didn't get a good game. Shamrock Rovers, I thought, to be honest, going into the game after being 2 up and losing 3-2 home, that would have been in the back of their head or the front of their heads, and they would have come out with vigour. But they didn't, and they couldn't deal with what Bohs threw. It's as simple as that. They just couldn't deal with what Bohs threw at them. They probably came in well prepared, just couldn't deal with it. And Bohs ran out very comfortable winners, and it's a fantastic win. And the atmosphere was electric at the Jody. And the last few weeks is brilliant to see because for a couple of seasons, really, it hasn't been right. As it the atmosphere, let's be real, fully at Bohs. And it's great to see it back, to be honest with you. Absolutely fantastic to see it back. Shamrock Rovers is still in a very good position here, really good position. And I think most Bohs fans would suggest they're probably favourites of the league still. But they'll be disappointed, there's no doubt, with this defeat. And, they'll have to go and lick their wounds and, see what happens next week on Friday. But yeah, big win for BOHS in the Dublin Derby. Let me know what you think in the comments. Now we're off to Turner's Cross and to Cork City, where Cork City drew 1-1 with Drogheda United. Daniel scoring 6 minutes into injury time to get a draw for Cork City. A brilliant header by Daniels. He's done well for them since he came in, actually. Shane Farrell scored a brilliant free kick in 12 minutes for Drogheda United, and Drogheda United 24% possession in this game. And I know I've said before that that's the way they play generally. They have about 30 odd possession in their games. They defend well and they try and hit teams in the counter. This was a bit different, and probably disappoint a lot of Drogheda fans, because no disrespect to Cork City, but I'm sure they'd agree. Drogheda are flying. They're third in the league now. They were second coming into this game, yeah. But they sat back after the 12th minute when they scored. They sat back in the game and invited Cork onto them. Cork had some chances. Not many brilliant chances, but they had some chances, and Drogheda invited them onto them. They didn't really have much of a threat in the counter-attack. It wasn't until the second half when a mistake was made, actually, by Anderson, and Dougie gets in. It's a good save, actually, by Truce. Dougie is unlucky with the effort for Drogheda. And they get caught at the end, and probably deserved, and Cork City certainly deserved something out of the game. They'll be delighted with that, because they need to pick up something. But Drogheda, yeah, they'll be disappointed. I think maybe there's a bit of lethargicness coming into their play. They work extremely hard, and they've done it all season. This was another Monday scenario. Were they leggy? Was that the reason why they sat back? It's very possible, to be honest with you. And maybe they felt they could ride it out, but they couldn't quite hit Cork in the counter-attack, let's say. That wasn't happening either. It was just sit back. And they'll be disappointed with that, but maybe they lack that energy, as I said before. Cork grew into the game, I suppose, and brought a bit of energy, and they deserved their goal. They really did deserve the goal in the end. Cork City, though, lost ground in Sligo Rovers. We'll talk about that later in the Connacht Derby match, but yeah, Cork City, one interesting thing about this game from Cork City point of view, there was 1,800 roughly at the game. Now, I appreciate it's a Monday night game, but still, it's Cork City. In the first division last year, there was roughly 5,000, between 4,000 and 5,000 at their games. Now, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, Cork City fans, was definitely a good bit cheaper. I believe tickets were €15 in last season. If not, correct me if I'm wrong, but it was certainly much cheaper than the €25 on offer now. And I mentioned this at the start of the season. Cork City fans weren't happy about it. I think it's a €10 jump in price. Either way, €25 is the dearest in the league. Now, you're coming up from the first division and you set your price as the dearest in the league for home games. For me, number one, it's not a good idea, because you're pissing off the fans, basically, as owner. And you can't have the team that's just come up have, more expensive ticket prices than anybody else in the league. It's ridiculous. And I don't understand what the thinking is behind there, because you want to have a full, or as full as possible, Turner's Cross as you can. Not half the people there with a more expensive ticket price. It's frankly ridiculous, to be honest with you. And the only way you'll get at the owners, to be honest, fan bases can get at the owners, and particularly in the likes of League of Ireland in that sense, is to basically not go to the games. And that will hit them where it hurts, to be honest with you, because we're very reliant on the fan bases and fans going to games and revenue in this league in particular. And 1,800 roughly went to the game on Monday. That's poor. Now, Dermot Usher has to look at that and think that's poor. Why is it poor? Because people are pissed off at the prices, basically. He has to bring it back down, and considerably as well. You want a fuller Turner's Cross, not a half-empty or nearly empty Turner's Cross. They had up a sign as well, the Cork City fans. Nero fiddled while Rome burnt. 3 seasons in, fuck all learned. Very poetic. A lot of different things going on there that I'm not happy about the ownership. Ticket price is a big one at this particular minute in time. There's other reasons as well that I won't go into. It's not my thing to say. But if you're a Cork City fan, let me know what you think in the comments about all this, etc., by the way. But, if Usher doesn't listen to this, I don't know what to say there. Let me know what you think of the comments, you Cork City fans. Drogheda fans, let me know what you think of the comments as well. Disappointing performance on Monday. Have I got a point maybe about being lethargic a little bit? Let me know there too. Yeah, the Connacht derby, and what a brilliant derby this was if you're in attendance at the showgrounds where it finished. Sligo Rovers 2, Galway United 1, and Sligo Rovers gain an extra 2 points, and Cork City, that's their second win basically in 3 games, and they were awful unlucky not to get anything on Friday against Drogheda, so they'd be delighted with that, I think. Sligo Rovers, and the game really catches into life. Galway chances before Hakiki scores a brilliant goal on 45 minutes. A brilliant through ball by Eldin into the space, perfectly weighted. Hakiki finishes well, 1-0 Sligo Rovers. Galway had a succession of chances before that, involved Hickey and a couple of other players, and Sam Sargent does very well. And as I said, the bit of red come up the other end pretty much a couple of minutes later and make it 1-0. They're 1 up at half time. Early in the second half, Moses Dyer, with his 10th goal of the season, the only player now in double figures, makes it 1-1, and you're thinking game on here. Then we have the situation where on, I think it was 53 minutes, sorry, I had it up there. I'll get it back again here. Sorry, yeah, 53 minutes where Dyer and Mahon were both sent off. And let me know what you think about this in the comments, if you're a Galway United or Sligo Rovers fan, because Mahon, to be honest, completely takes Moses Dyer out of it, and he's a little bit high as well. It's a yellow. You could argue it's borderline a red, but it is a yellow. Dyer takes exception to it. I kind of don't blame him initially. But the problem is it was diffused, etc., etc., and Dyer goes back for more. Basically grabs him around the neck. You can't do that, and he gets a sending off. Mahon here is unlucky a little bit, I think, but the referee probably feels there's no choice to send both off to pick up the other yellow. Because there's not much you can do when someone comes over and you're hunked down fixing your socks and they shove you and then they grab you around the neck. I'm not really sure what you're supposed to do there, but I can understand why the referee did it, just to diffuse it and go, both of them are off. And it was a bad tackle by Mahon originally, I have to say, but let me know what you think in the comments about that. Francis Lamboto scores against his old club late in the day. His first effort hits off the post, and it's a lovely back heel. It's a very good back heel, actually. It's he makes it look easy, but trust me, it's not the easiest back heel in the world. After 73 minutes, puts them 2-1 up. Galway United nearly equalised late on, though, to be fair. Hickey comes close again. Hutchison clears off the line. Another header from Hickey. Yeah, Smith goes very close, doesn't he, with a header, which would have been sensational for him to score. The Trinidad and Tobago recent signing to get an equaliser against their Connacht rivals. That would have put him in a bit of folklore, wouldn't it? But it went very close. And Sligo Rovers survived and get a very, very big win against Galway United. Superb win for Sligo Rovers. Sligo Rovers fans, let me know what you think. Do you think there's a chance you could even get out of the playoff? Or is that a bit early? Let me know. Now, Richmond Park finished St Patrick's Day 0, Derry City 1. Liam Boyce's goal on 29 minutes, set up by his namesake, Ronan Boyce, on the right-hand side. It was a good move by Derry City. You cut through the midfield quite easily, I have to say. But it was good football on their part. Ball comes out to Ronan Boyce, who crosses into the box, and Boyce leaned on his heads home. Good weekend for Derry, really. 2 trips to Dublin, 6 points. They probably would have been delighted with 4 and reasonably happy maybe with 3, but 6 points is brilliant on 2 clean sheets in the process. You could argue from their point of view, they grinded this game out, puts them now 4th in the league in a very good position. A point behind Drogheda United with 2 games in hand, and only 2 points behind BOHS, who've been in good form despite their defeat against Watford on Friday. They have been in good form, so I think they'll be content with where they are, to be honest. Don Thomas has left for Ayr United. That's been made official, by the way. Big win for Derry City. Pat's been critical about their work rate and desire and aggression in recent weeks, but they're probably unlucky not to pick up something from the game. They did have a lot of the play. They had some chances. Mealy had a great chance. There were a couple of other chances. Brandon Cavan had a couple of chances and that. But at the same time, it fell into the, like a bit like Shells at home a few weeks ago. It fell into the scenario a little bit, I feel, of a bit panicky in front of goal and lacking composure, to be honest with you. I think that's the one thing. I think that's probably down to confidence. They had a brilliant home record. They've lost two in a row. They hadn't lost at home in a year, but surprisingly, they've lost two in a row. But they haven't won at home the last four. Their away record's been poor all year, but they haven't won at home the last four, and they haven't scored in three of those games. So they'll be disappointed with that. At the moment, they need a rub of the green, but at the same time, I can't criticise them for their effort in this game, though, to be fair. They're missing Chris Forrester as well. I know he came on, but they're missing Chris Forrester. But I cannot criticise them for their effort in this game. But the problem is, I think their work rate and desire has not been there in a lot of the games. And now you're catching up a little bit, in a sense. But again, the performance was too. If they got a draw out of the game, nobody would have really said it wasn't fair. So they could easily nick the point. But there'd be Pats fans out there saying, but we should be getting 3 points. You know what I mean? Because 3 defeats in a row, etc. And it's not great. The position they're in is not great, is it? They're sixth in the league at the moment with 30 points. Someone said they'd more than last year, but, but last year's last year. And Kenny probably has a bigger job there than he thought he had in the first place. And it's going to take time. There's bits and pieces to do that's right. But a little bit unlucky, I have to say. They got to Cork on Friday. But Derry, absolutely brilliant result. Brilliant couple of results, basically, in Dublin. And they'd be delighted with the clean sheets in particular, I think. And as I said, from their point of view, defended quite well in the game. Pats did have chances, I think, that they snatched at and lacked composure. But Derry would be pretty happy with how solid generally they were. And the goal they got was a good goal from their point of view, to be honest. So great result for Derry City. Let me know, guys, what you think in the comments. Yeah, with the RC, we had a fantastic game. I think I predicted this one right, like 2-2. I think I predicted a 2-2, as far as I remember. But I finished Watford FC 2, Shelburn FC 2, and a mad couple of minutes in both halves, basically, is where all the goals came from. Harry Wood scored after 3 minutes after very good play. Odebeko should actually score the goal, but Wood does well to realise he's going to miss the ball, and steals in at the back post and makes it 1-0 for the Shells. Of course, Jory O'Brien was in the dugout for this game following Duff's resignation. Grant Horton equalised on 8. He took his goal well, but they'll be very disappointed, Shells, the defending. Ledwidge be very disappointed with that situation, to be fair, and that was 1-1. Early in the second half then, that man Podge Hammond of 48, and I sniggered at this one, to be honest, to give Waterford the lead, because I was thinking to myself, Noonan turns and takes a kind of a speculative shot, and it's slightly spilled. Hammond is on it immediately. I don't think there's another striker in the league that would have sniffed out that goal. Honestly, I don't think there is. He's so good and so intelligent at sniffing out. And he's a positive striker, if that makes sense. He thinks anything that's going to happen around the box, it's going to land to him somewhere, and he's going to be in a position to score, basically. And it's a great mentality to have, actually. And he does very well, slips it well underneath the goalkeeper as well. And Hammond is really turning on the style at the moment, and he's a key player for Waterford, we know that. But a minute later, Harry Wood equalises. Good play by Shells, good speed in their play. The ball is crossed from the left, and Wood is in there and gets a toe to it, essentially. He's in a good area, though. He's joining. He's getting into the box. And he makes it 2-2, and Shells probably had other chances. Dan Kelly hits the bar late on, and Waterford were hanging on a little bit. But they'd be happy with the performance, Shells, I think. Would have been a bit of a worry after Duff leaving, which way is this going to go. But I think the reaction was good from Shelburne. The likes of Mark Coyle, very strong in the middle of the park, actually. Waterford didn't play brilliantly and picked up a draw. It's funny though, Waterford have had matches, one or two matches recently where they've played well and haven't won, actually. And in this one, they probably didn't play great and they pick up a point. That's this league. Ultimately, it's a satisfactory point, I think, for both sides. They'd be reasonably happy with it. Let me know what you think in the comments. So, quickly on to Friday's game. I'm going to give my predictions here. First of all, Dalymount Park. Bohemians take on Sligo Rovers. I think I'm going to this game, by the way. Bohs in really good form in general, despite the setback against Waterford. A brilliant performance against Shamrock Rovers and win. And they've been flying in the last number of weeks. Sligo Rovers have been playing well in the last few games, though. Not only did they pick up 6 from 9, they even played well in that defeat to Drogheda, narrow defeat at Sullivan Land Park. So they will be coming in with a bit of confidence, and this could be a very entertaining football match, actually, with goals. I do think BOHS will win this game, but I'm going to go for Bohemians 3, Sligo Rovers 2. At Turner's Cross, Cork City entertains St Patrick's Athletic, and it'd be interesting to see what the protests are like for this game at Turner's Cross. The game itself, though, a lot of Pats fans will be saying if they can't win against the teams bottom of the table, forget about it. You know what I mean? But Cork City fans will be saying we fancy taking Pats here, to be honest. So it's a difficult one to judge. Pats were a little unlucky against Derry City. If they can bring some of that play against Derry City and improve their composure in front of goal, really, because they're lacking that at the moment. That's a confidence thing. It's a very panicky, jittery thing in front of goal. But Cork don't defend well, really, do they? They don't, let's be honest. They've welcomed Rory Feely to the club, by the way. Let me know what you think about that if you're a Cork City fan. He won't be available till July 1st, though, I don't think. So, I don't know. I'm really torn on this one. I'm going to go for a draw. I think it would be Cork City 1, St Patrick's 8-1. Let me know what you think in the comments. At the Brandywell, Derry City take on Drogheda United, who I'd argue look jaded the last few games, and I don't know. I worry for them that the European saga has played into their heads and might play into their heads mentally. To be honest, it might drain them a bit. I don't know. I could be wrong there. I could be wrong. Derry City on the back of 2 away wins will be thinking, God, if we can get a win at home here to Drogheda, they know how difficult Drogheda are to play against. Drogheda have done quite well against Derry City this season too, to be fair. In fact, just to confirm that, we go to the head-to-heads, I should say. Yeah, last time they met was 1-1 at Sullivan Lamb. Of course, Drogheda won 3-1 at the Brandywell earlier on in the season. You had the Cup, the 2-0 win, and the 2-1 Drogheda win. The last Derry win was a 5-1 win, if people remember that. That was a massive win. I remember that game. But I do think Derry are going to nick this. I do. I think Derry City at home will sense good chance for them, actually. If they win this, or they overtake Drogheda as well. Drogheda just look a bit tired for me at the moment. Derry City 2, Drogheda United 0. Now at Eamon DC Park, Galway United take on Shelburn. Shelburn will be happy with the performance that they put in against Watford. It'll be very interesting to see if they can bring those energy levels to Eamon DC Park. Galway United will be disappointed. They played their part in a good game against Sligo Rovers. They'll be disappointed not to win the game. They'll be missing Moses Dyer, so Shaw probably come into this. He's suspended, Dyer. I see another draw on this one. I think it'll be a tight draw. I'm going to go for Galway United 0, Shelburn 0. Let me know what you think in the comments. Finally now, at Tallaght Stadium, Shamrock Rovers will take on Waterford FC. Really, really interesting game. Shamrock Rovers will be looking to hit back after a disappointing result against Bowls, but still in a strong position, top of the table. Waterford have been involved in a lot of games recently, a lot of goals. So they're one of the great entertainers at the moment. Didn't play well the last time out, played very well on Friday. I think Shamrock Rovers will bounce back here and win this game. I think they'll win by 3-1. Let me know what you think in the comments. So guys, I'll leave it there. Please like the video, please subscribe, and thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.